right, Mr. Taliaferro TV, how's everybody doing? I know we kind of stick to basketball, but there are like 3 football stories that are so prevalent in the news right now, I can't resist. And I'm gonna be honest with you, some very sickening stuff going on in college football right now. Look, man, let me say this. There's a chance that in any domestic violence case, there's always a chance that the victim or alleged victim is lying. There's always a chance, right? We're people, we're human beings, people lie. But what I've seen in my history of following domestic violence cases, to a degree, right? From what I've seen, I'm talking about from inside my home to around me, family. Here's what I've seen. More times than not, when someone comes forward and claims that someone abused them, that person that came forward is not lying. There's something there. I don't believe women, and I'm going to say this to women, I don't believe women wake up, and I don't believe most women, I can't generalize all women, I can't do that. I don't believe most women wake up saying, I'm going to find a way to get back at my husband, ex-husband, ex-boyfriend, boyfriend, whatever. I don't believe that's a women's day-to-day mentality, right? I don't believe there's a crap ton of women doing that. So I said this to say, when a woman says a man put his hands on her, I tend to believe that. Also, when I have history and I've seen things happen, and when that man has some sort of a track record, I'm definitely going to believe the woman. I'm just telling y'all where I side on this thing. This Urban Meyers, Zach Smith situation is very, very complex. And I will say this, I reserve my right to change my opinion in regards to facts coming out. I believe Urban Meyers is going to do an interview in the next couple days. I reserve my right to change judgment on this situation in totality, barring facts come out about this case that provide more of a light on what the heck is going on here. To sum up a long story here, we have a positions coach on Ohio State staff up until he got fired, a week or 2 ago? Zach Smith. Zach Smith has been with Urban Meyers for quite a long time. He moved from Florida. He was with Urban in Florida before Urban stepped down. And he came with Urban to the Ohio State, where Urban has been incredibly successful. He was incredibly successful in Florida as well. Urban is a successful coach. So I look at Urban Meyers' relationship with Zach Smith. Remember, Zach Smith's father, who recently passed away, Bruce Smith, was Urban Meyers' mentor. That's the only reason why, from what I've been told, or the sources that I follow, that's the only reason why Urban Meyer gave this guy a shot to begin with. So I wanted to tell you that because that provides a little bit of context of why Urban feels so loyal to this guy, Zach Smith. So, back in 2009, reportedly, there was a situation that happened. And at the time, Bruce Smith was alive, the father of Zach Smith. There was a situation domestically, and Bruce Smith and Urban Meyer, and Urban Meyer's wife, Shelly Meyers, sat down with Zach Smith and his wife. Sat down, talked to him, whatever came from that. That tells me that something that was there. Problems in their marriage were there at that time. Fast forward, 2015. Zach Smith has been accused of domestic violence. There are pictures that are surfacing. Salute to his former ESPN employee, Brett McMurphy. All right, he used to work at ESPN, college football analyst, reporter. He was let go after the last layoff. He's working independently now. He's doing a phenomenal job on this one. He's showing us pictures of this woman who looks like she was abused by Zach Smith. She's showed us text messages that show she had back and forth with Shelly Meyers, the wife of Urban Meyers, who's also an instructor in the College of Nursing at The Ohio State. That's some context to this, right? And she's shown us text messages she had with wives of other coaches. So here's what Urban Meyers and The Ohio State want me to believe. You want me to believe that Zach Smith's wife, and I try to refrain from using her name, Zach Smith's wife had conversation with Urban Meyers' wife about his coach potentially abusing his wife, and you want me to believe that at no point Urban Meyers' wife told Urban about this going on when it revolves around his staff. Now, there are coaches who value different things around the league, right? And in college football, different coaches value different things. What Urban Meyers has been preaching, throughout his tenure at Florida and The Ohio State, is I'm growing boys into men. He's preached that. That's been one of his principles. He hits it harder than most coaches do throughout the country. That's why so many families feel comfortable giving their kids to this guy. That's why he's been an exceptional recruiter. It also doesn't hurt that Ohio State is right in that center there, and they're getting a lot of athletes just on straight merit alone. But it doesn't hurt these families when they're giving their kids to what it looks like is a stand-up individual. And Urban Meyers, who's preaching, we're trying to turn boys into men. Now, you're asking me to believe something that's just unbelievable. That this woman, the wife of Urban Meyers, knew about somebody getting abused, that this woman sent Urban Meyers' wife pictures, right? And the text messages that were exchanged, if these text messages are to be true, and the factual text messages and real, there's messages that show Urban Meyers' wife acknowledged the bruises, and conversation continued back in 2015. Now Zach Smith recently did an interview with ESPN. As of today, he claims he's never put his hands on his wife. We've seen this story before. We've seen guys, and I don't know Zach Smith, and I do think to a degree it's unfair to judge his character on things other men that Zach Smith doesn't even know, right, have done. We've seen men hit the podium and say, I have not put my hands on that woman, and video footage came out a week or two later and humbled their ass. And then their whole stance changed. They're like, yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't know there was any type of recording going on. We've seen this story before. Maybe Zach's telling the truth. I tend to believe in this era that he's not. And that makes me think back in 2015 when Zach said Urban Meyer pulled him to the sideline off the practice field and asked him what the heck is going on, and asked him, pretty much, have you put your hands on a woman? I don't go for that. Zach said, no, I've never hit my wife. And the fact that Urban Meyer stepped to that podium in Chicago for the Big Ten meetings, media day, and said, I know that, I fired Zach Smith, but I can't act like possible things coming out in the media didn't have anything to do with it. But he still downplayed it and kind of refuted reporters who were coming at him wanting answers like, what the heck is going on with The Ohio State? I'm sorry, Urban Meyers. You, more than most coaches, are preaching kids need to do right. Kids need to be better. Tressel lost his job over much less. Tressel lost his job over kids going and getting tattoos and finding ways to get money for him. If Tressel lost his job over that, I find it hard to believe that Urban Meyers is going to be able to keep his job. I'm sorry, y'all. I know the Ohio State is very invested in this. Urban Meyers has brought them back to prominence. They're one of the 4 to 7 teams every year we believe have a chance to compete for a national championship. It ain't many, but I'm just going to call it what it is. You're asking me to believe the unbelievable. And unfortunately, I believe this is going to cost Urban Meyers his job. Now, I know the Ohio State has placed him on paid administrative leave, a paid vacation, until they figure this thing out. But no matter what they find out, they've hired a special group to get deep into this and figure out the facts and figure out if Urban Meyers knew more, if he was protecting his coach that he had to let go a week or two ago. I know this thing is going to get deep, nasty, and we're going to find out some things. I think in the end, Urban Meyers, in this era, the Me Too era, and I ain't mad at us being in the Me Too era. In this era, I find it hard to believe that Urban Meyers finds a way to keep his job. Hard to believe. And you know, and I want to separate this here. Urban Meyers ain't put his hands on his wife, so he's not the biggest villain in that. But if this is true about Zach Smith and he's put his hands on his wife, and if Urban Meyers knew about this and could have done more, you got a guy in the locker room preaching to kids to be the best you, and he wasn't living that life for damn sure. Urban's gonna lose his job over this. I find it hard to believe he's gonna coach game 1 of his team's season this year. I think we've seen the last game Urban Meyers has coached. Urban Meyers recently just came out and apologized. I won't read all of it here. He just delivered a statement. He said, over the past several days, I've been portrayed as being indifferent to domestic violence and as someone who did not take the appropriate action when warranted. While over 3 decades of coaching, I have learned to ignore how others define me. I do feel it necessary to share the truth with the Buckeyes family. Here's the truth. While at the University of Florida and now the Ohio State University, I've always followed proper reporting protocols and procedures. When I have learned of an incident involving a student athlete, coach, or member of our staff, by elevating the issues to our proper channels. And I did so regarding the Zach Smith incident in 2015. I take that responsibility very seriously, and any suggestion to the contrary is simply false. Please know that the truth is the ultimate power, and I am confident that I took appropriate action. As I stated above, I deeply regret if I have failed in my words. As the son of an amazing woman and the husband to another, and as the father of 2 incredible young women, those who know me best know the admiration and respect I have for all women. Our core values are just that, values that do not ever waver. I ask that you continue to support the incredible coaches and student athletes in our program, and I look forward to rejoining them soon. I want to let it be known that Urban Meyers did say I failed, you know, to a degree, but he said the truth will come out. And he's, you know, if you read the bulk of that statement, I only took a couple stanzas of it, but he said the truth will come out, and you'll learn that he did everything in his power, though he said he failed. That's kind of contradicting, right? But we'll see. I just don't see personally how Urban Meyers will return to the Ohio State sideline. I don't see how it's going to happen. When more facts come out about this case, of course, I'll talk about this one on my platform. We ain't going to do a lot of football stories, but this is one of the big ones. And college football is about to lose one of their greatest coaches. And I'm going to tell you the truth. There is no way in hell Urban Meyers ever gets another look. You know, there was a gift and a curse in the death of Joe Paterno. You know, what Joe Pa knew about the Sandusky situation, I don't know. Like this Urban Meyers situation, I tend to believe he knew enough to do something about what was happening to an innocent person or people, right? And the gift and the curse in Joe Pa's death was that The curse was someone died. I never wished death on anyone. But the gift in that was Joe didn't have to face his demons the way he should have, probably. You know, he had left Penn State. He was let go from Penn State, and a few weeks after he passed away. Joe skipped facing his demons on earth and whatever he did or didn't do. And with Urban, the demons he'll have to face and the decisions that he could have made, who knows what's going to happen. But in this social media era, in this Me Too era, I find it hard to believe he's going to be able to keep his job. Find it hard to believe. Thank y'all for the time, love, support. I don't take it for granted. And best of luck to everybody involved in the situation. And I don't care what he said, what she said. I'm siding with justice here. And I want the best to happen for all parties involved. I'm out. Hey, yo, if you're looking for more ways to get to know the guy that's behind the microphone of some of your favorite news stories and in front of the camera of some of your favorite interviews, I need you to do me a favor real quick. Follow me on Twitch at It's Mr. TALIAFERRO. We're going to be playing 2K, playing a little bit of Madden, and we're also going to be listening to music. Imagine somebody combining playing 2K with your homeboys and being a live radio station at the same time. We're doing all that and more. Follow me on Twitch at It's Mr. TALIAFERRO. Giveaways coming as well. You got to follow me there, and we're going to turn this bad boy up. Let's go.